Bitcoin has managed to reclaim $68,000, and in today's show we're going to have a look at the outlook, at least for the altcoin market, because a lot of the coins are starting to reject from pretty key levels and they are pulling back. So we're going to go over which ones are strong, which ones are not strong, and we'll have a look at the state of Bitcoin as well. So smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And let's get straight into it on Banter Bubbles over here on the daily. Of course, the biggest coins over here, we got Jasmy, we got Arweave, we got Beam, and we got Audi. So Beam was listed on Upbit, a Korean exchange today, and that's why it's getting this mega pump. As for Audi and Jasmy, well, just normal market movements over there, normal anomalies within the market. If you look at the hourly, some red, some green. What about the weekly? How's that looking? Also about half and half. So really adding support to this being a mega choppy market, which we're seeing at the moment. And then also in big news, very big news, this could affect markets. We'll have a look. This is, of course, the state of the United States. Breaking President Donald Trump is found guilty in hush money case. So very interesting twist of events. And then Wall Street is saying, Wall Street Silver, President Donald Trump found guilty of leading in the polls to win the White House in 2024. So of course, a little bit of sarcasm over there, but that is ultimately what a lot of people think. And you got a lot of big names that are coming out as well in support. So here you have somebody donating $300,000 to President Trump, and then David Sachs from of course, what do they call their podcast over there? Their big podcast with 𝗕𝗟𝗕𝗕𝗓. After Biden's disastrous presidency, Trump has a lot of supporters in Silicon Valley. Many are just afraid to admit it, but with each act of courage like this one, the dam begins to break. So a lot of the tides are starting to shift. You have also Andrew Tate donating $200,000 to Trump. And then again, Sachs coming out saying that over here, there is now only one issue in this election, and that's whether the American people stand for the USA becoming a banana republic, which is, of course, where all the money goes to the top, right? Straight to the government. So this is how it's been within crypto, at least how crypto has been adopting it. Trump, crypto might be okay. He has crypto, gives $10 million away to Trump. Crypto might actually be really good. Crypto, have another $10 million. So Trump, crypto is the best thing ever. Crypto, okay, you scamp, he has a 50 mil. And then Biden also like, crypto, crypto back to Biden. Let's get you back to bed, grandpa. So this has been the state of the markets at the moment. And of course, you can trade these political fi coins, right? The meme coins within the sector. If you do want some sort of exposure and you want to be a speculator and place some bets on what you think may happen within that. And if you look at this betting side over here, well, who will win? Even after that, Donald Trump still all the way at the top over here on those polls. So what are we looking at? Well, we know that, these election phases within the market usually lead to big moves, right? Towards the upside, because usually they want to show that the economy is very strong and that they basically saved everything. And this is the arc to be on, right? So if we line that up over here with the real estate cycle, which is the 18.6-year real estate cycle, you'll see that timing-wise, this also lines up with what would be labeled as the winner's curse, which is coming up right about now. You expect that the markets will start to slowly but surely move vertical. Now, that's in the high time frame, right? You don't confuse your time frames. You have the high time frame, the medium time frame, and then the short term, which is like what happens intraday and on a day-to-day basis. This is more high time frame, looking over the next 12 to 24 months. The expectation would be that the markets will rally pretty aggressively, especially going into that final election phase. So a lot to have a look at over here. So far, this is kind of the blueprint or the longer term roadmap, but there can be pullbacks along the way. And that is something that we're seeing, right? If you look at the stock market over here, you got the Dow Jones coming down pretty aggressively from the top of the range high all the way back down to the range low. So if you measure that as a percentage, that's already brought it down 5%, which is very significant for something like the stock markets, right? 5% on the Dow Jones is pretty much like Bitcoin coming down 25%, which is serious, right? And Bitcoin's actually holding up pretty well. If you look on the top here, you have the Nasdaq also holding right in the top side over there. But if this does start to deviate below and gain acceptance below that 450 level, then expect it is going to pull back into the next zone, which is going to be about 430, and then of course you have the S&P 500 over here, which is still coming into that 51.57. But our expectation is, even if you do get a deeper pullback into this region over here, it should trade in alignment with this 18.6-year real estate cycle, which would be much longer term bullish, right? So still looking for higher prices and much more from the markets. The real question that you have to ask yourself right now is, what type of market are we in, right? Are we going into a parabolic blow off top phase right now for crypto? Because so far it's matching the trajectory. So far it's been pretty bullish in the sense that this has been the macro range. We had the deviation over here, reclaim the range, push towards the top side, and now we're breaking out of the top side of the range. And as per ranges, if you break out the top side of a range and you can hold that as support, well, that would suggest strong continuation onwards and upwards and a pretty aggressive move, if you might want to add that part in. Now, if you zoom in a little bit closer, you can see we have marked off the levels with the previous week's highs, previous week's lows. We've got the previous month's low and the previous month's high. Now, clearly, the major support is going to be last week's low. We really want to see price hold last week's low, which is coming in right over here at $66,111. If it can adequately hold that low, bounce price off there, the level to take out is going to be the previous month's high, which currently is situated at just below $73,000. If you can break above $73,000, we should see straight continuation, but this chop can continue for quite some time, right? So that's the one scenario. The other scenario is that I dropped quite a long thread in the Whale Room Discord, and I covered it on yesterday's Whale Room Discord live session. I'm not going to give you the in-depth details. If you want that, go to Whale Room Discord, you'll find it over there. But long story short, we spoke about the possibility, the small possibility to, view the market from both ways. You need to view the market from both the bullish and the bearish, because you don't want to have confirmation bias and you don't want to think that you know everything about the markets, and you need to accept that sometimes you can be wrong. And we spoke about the very small possibility that due to the market being in extreme contango, which is where the futures prices consecutively are more and more bullish. When you get into extreme contango, the markets can remain irrational for quite a long period of time, but eventually there will be a snapback to reality, and that snapback could bring prices down lower. And there is a fair value gap which has been untouched over here, sitting at that $43,000 to $47,000 level, which in terms of chart patterns over here would actually print what would then be the perfect handle on a cup and handle formation if you were to get something like that, right? Then you would know that, well, ultimately the parabola is not intact anymore. You're breaking that parabola down and you're going to go in for a longer correction. We spoke about the crowded trade, right? The crowded trade now starting to move towards the bullish side, whereas at the bottom over here, the crowded trade was bearish, and we're looking for signs and symptoms for the market to flip back bullish. So I don't want to confuse anybody out here. For the time being, I'm still definitely high time frame, medium time frame bullish, low time frame expecting a lot more consolidation and chop before prices eventually have a chance to move higher. But I am very, very aware that things can flip like that in just a second, and I'm paying close attention, looking for any reason to cut positions if need be. As it currently stands, though, we brought up Renko yesterday, and you can see on most of the strong coins, it continues to remain bullish, showing green candles. And usually this is that simple, right? To trade on the daily time frame, it's literally a matter of if it's green, you're in and you're holding long. If it's red, it's either putting in a small correction or you actually want to fully exit the market, right? So that is the state of Renko for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Casper, Render, and Injective. The only one over here that is bearish is Casper, but you can see it's attempting to flip that candle back green. So we're going to have a look at, those are examples of some of the stronger coins, right? We're going to have a look at the other altcoins today as well, because a lot of them, as mentioned, are rejecting from pretty key levels and could be coming down lower. So we need to show you which ones those are, so that you can be really, really careful in case you are holding those positions. I don't want you to lose money. Now, the range is also clearly defined over here on this chart over here. You can see literally chopping between those two levels, between the yellow box zones over there. But you have the middle Bollinger Band trending up over here, which should find beautiful support if we do see some sort of a pullback. This is why the invalidations are clear. If you start to break below these key lows, then ultimately we are going to revisit the bottom of that Bollinger Band, which is the scenario of the handle playing out on the massive cup and handle formation. The fear and greed has been reset, but it is on its way down once again. So the market, of course, is, less greedy than it was a couple of weeks back, where it was sitting at literally 83 near those highs. Now it's flushed it all the way back down to a 62 on the fear and greed. So we'll watch this as well as prices start to pull back into key levels. And this is the zone to clear, right? It continues to remain. Flipping that $69,000 is super, super important and of very, very high significance. As soon as you can get high time frame candles closing above $69,000, let's call it 70 for round numbers, that's going to be mega, mega, mega significant. Then you can say the parabola is intact. Then you can say that we're looking for major expansion towards the upside. Until then, it does warrant a little bit of caution. You can see as well, there's a lack of bid within the market on the daily time frame when using the ADX, which is the average directional index, is the blue line over here. And then you're looking at the DI positive and the DI negative. Now the DI positive is above the red, so the green above the red is a good sign, but there's no real bid over here, right? You can see the constant chop over here from the ADX, just chopping around. We need to see more sustainable moves like this, right? Like this period over here, where it ultimately rallied towards the upside. That's where you start to get a spot bid coming into the market and bigger moves. If you do want to learn more about these things, again, guys, remember Whale School is officially live. The link is in the description below for you to join. Wednesday is the next live session, which is going to be workshop 1, right? We did the welcome event. This is going to be workshop 1. If you want additional alpha, you'll find that in this trading school over here, valued at $3,000, but you guys get in for absolutely zero. It's free, right? Sponsored. So the correction now, we're officially 78 days into the correction, almost 3 months. Pretty long term. If bulls can hold price action up over here without breaking down, that will be a strong reaccumulation phase, and we'll be looking for higher prices in the medium to long term. Here you have the RSI as well, which has almost hit that 50 level, which is the zone where we're viewing a bounce should start to take place. And if that RSI can move down into that phase while price action holds above the mid-range, that will be pretty significant. So your range levels are pretty clear. Range level on the daily at 61,000. Mid-range, which is where price is right now holding above, that's coming in over here at exactly 67,500. And then you have your range high, which is the zone we want to clear out above, is $73,000, right? So a lot at stake over here, a lot of chop. It's because bulls and bears are fighting for that 69K level. The 69K level is very, very significant. So as they continue to try and fight for that, bears know if they can hold price below that level, they can keep prices down and hopefully bring, or for their sake, they want to hopefully bring prices much lower. And bulls know if they can get above $69,000, you could get major expansion towards the upside in the form of, for example, the BBWP, the Bollinger Band width percentile, is very, very contracted. And that's where the next major move takes place. So with that being said, in terms of your 4-hour time frame, all you need to do at home is literally just monitor this chart, right? You don't want to see price action lose the blue moving average or exponential moving average. If it starts to gain acceptance underneath that, that's where you start to see the breakdown move take place. As long as it can hold above this level over here, you give very, very slight edge towards the bulls, which would then be looking to target back above that $73,000 next, $73,000 level coming up next. But if you look and you scroll through the market over here, of course, right, the majority of the market is red, and a lot of the coins are trading, very far away from that 200 EMA, which means that you could still get quite a big pullback just to get into that zone. If you look at Chainlink alone, from there to there is another 9% move, right? Look at Zeta below, Ton slightly above its 200, Sui is below, Solana slightly above, Say is below, Near is below, losing it right now. Matic is below. Casper is above. Injective below. We'll just go through the layer ones. Dot is below. Cake is below it. AVAX is below its 200. Atom also below the 200. Aptos below the 200. But if you actually look at Aptos, this is an example of something that is slowly going to start to find its bottom. Look at that long down move and look at the slope as it starts to base out over there. This is where you expect the choppy range to continue, and then hopefully it will find some support. Ethereum obviously downtrending pretty hard over here, lost the 200, and that's what happened next. Cardano also been downtrending for quite long and now stuck below that 200 EMA, which is the blue one over there, and prices are coming down. We'll look at the daily timeframes. I'll give you the horizontal levels because those are much more significant in this type of market. When you see the market chopping about like this, the horizontals are going to be your best friend. You don't really want to be trading that much off of the EMAs, but still use them as a slight guide, right? So before we move on to those altcoins and before we move on to the flows, just a quick shout out to Blowfin, guys. They are also one of the sponsors of school. So if you are looking to join school, consider using Blowfin. There is a link in the description below. And then when you do sign up to these things as well, I just want to mention that you will automatically be entered into the banter bags, right? So what is the banter bags? It's where we get into IDO allocation, seed round investments into projects that you wouldn't have the opportunity as an ordinary person back at home to get into, right? You have to be a fund or a major player within the crypto field to get into these IDOs. We're putting $1,000 into each respective coin. In the past, these coins have done between 50 and some of them even 500x returns, right? So on average, we say about 100x return on each of these projects, which means each of the bags that we put the money in, which is around 20 of them, will 100x. So $1,000 to $100,000. And then we give all of this away to you, the community at the end. It's like a massive lottery, right? So by using the links below, signing up, you automatically entered into the lottery, then subscribe to this channel, Crypto Banter, and then go to the other channel, Crypto Banter Plus, and subscribe there as well. That's where I will be from Monday, right? So if you want to find my shows, I'm there on Monday. Also, with that being said, when those channels reach a certain mark, 350,000 subscribers on Banter Plus, 1 million subscribers on Crypto Banter, that's when we're going to choose some lucky winners and give those bags away. And we predict they're probably going to be valued somewhere around $2 to potentially even $3 million, right? So use the links below, sign up, take advantage of that. It is really for your own benefit, and let's continue. So with that being said, let's have a look over here at the funding. So funding's still pretty flat with this chop over here. You have a slight positive funding showing that most market participants are still looking for longs. If you look over here, the spot, a very lackluster bid, just again supporting this chop within the market, just ranging, right? Everything is absolutely ranging and chopping about. Look, the guys are going short, then long, then short, then long. It's literally all over the place. And my best advice to you guys, and of course that's non-financial advice, would be to trade the range. That's it. Mark out the range levels, look at the tight daily range levels on each chart, and you want to trade the extremities of that range, right? You can also use, if you come into our Discord, one of the top traders that we have, of course, is Mo. He teaches the Monday range trading strategy. If you want to learn more about that, come into the Discord over there. That's been one of the money makers for this type of market at the moment. Liquidity wise, this is ETH over here. The ETH heat map does have liquidity all the way down to 3,000. And if you go over here to BTC, let's just quickly let it load up because usually this is quite slow. Their liquidity is also clearly marking out the range, right? So here's your range levels. You have quite a lot of liquidity down at 55,300. This is looking at the 1 month time frame. And then above you have a liquidity buildup, which is the shorts that constantly keep building short positions up over here. This is where their stop losses are going to be based. I want to quickly go on to the lower time frame on the 7-day, and let's have a quick look at that. See if it's any notable difference over here. Okay, so in the very short term, definitely more liquidity towards the downside, meaning that there's a good chance that you're going to push back into that $66,000 region. So if you see prices come down to $66,000 in the short term, do not be surprised. They're going to be grabbing this liquidity over here. Market makers are going to be sending price there. And consequently, that is going to bring a lot of the altcoins further down. So we'll get into that in a bit. If you want to learn more about the order books, again, covered in Whale School, right? Covered in Whale School. We could also have a quick look at this one over here. Let's go on to maybe the 4-hour time frame and just see what is showing over there at that $66,000 region. Do we have any major orders, right? Any major orders on the order book? Nothing too significant. This is, there we go, only about 140 Bitcoin worth of buy orders over there. So we'll continue to monitor this. We'll see if something changes over there for Bitcoin. As for ETH BTC, I think that in the short term, ETH BTC has probably reached its top over here and has to put in a little bit of a pullback. As we mentioned, this zone over here, maybe you're going to find at the June low, 2021 June low at 0.048, you might find a bit of a higher low. And really, we want to give this a bit of time, right? We're looking for something like this. And then ultimately, the next reclaim over there, we need to see a couple of higher highs and higher lows in the making to reverse that trend. And for Ethereum, remember I said the liquidity comes down as low as $3,000, but I've got marked off as the mid-range level at 3,400 as a significant zone where you could buy the dip if prices do happen to come into that zone. You got the Bitcoin dominance again pushing back up over here, so we'll give this one a bit of time. You have the closing candle outside of the rising wedge formation, which is a bearish formation, and only time will tell, right? Remember, there's an order of significance or sequence that you have to look at things. I always say that, you know, if you're in a ranging market, then it's going to be first horizontals. Looking at strong horizontal levels are going to be most important. And then secondary to that is going to be the trend, right? Is it an uptrend or is it a downtrend? Next comes up the trend, right? But this comes up to your own, this will depend on your own discretion and how you view the market. You need to identify, is the market ranging right now or are we stuck in a trend? Right now, the market's ranging because if the market is ranging, horizontals are most important, right? If the market is trending, then you can switch these two around and you can say that now the trend is more important than the horizontals. Next up comes high time frame moving averages, which is like the 200-day, 200-week moving average. So that's pretty significant. And then lastly in the list is going to be things like chart patterns, right? Head and shoulders, all those types of things. Exceptions would be, for example, ascending or descending triangles. Those are the exceptions. Those are strong chart patterns. The rest of them are much weaker to look at. So why am I telling you this? Well, because just because price is breaking down from a rising wedge formation, which is a chart pattern, we know that in the priority list, this is a lower priority setup, right? Higher priority setups, because the market is ranging, we have to treat the range levels as most significant, which is going to be the horizontals. And price right now is caught exactly at the mid-range, which is a strong horizontal. And therefore, if it's above that, despite breaking down from a rising wedge formation, I still would then give the probability of moving up into 60% as a higher probability bet than playing out the chart pattern breakdown. So big roundabout over there, but I think it's important to know that stuff. These are things that we teach, of course, in Wales School, right? So let's continue. Total 3, here it is, choppy range. I'm honestly not even going to comment on that. I think we should just get straight into the altcoins. So let me know which altcoins you want to see. What do you guys want to have a look at? And we'll get into it right now. So Ethereum, I'm going to start off on Ethereum because Ethereum pulling back into this zone over here theoretically still opens up the possibility for a long. You don't want to see ETH break below that wick that occurred on Thursday, the 23rd of May. If you start to break below that, you can stop out of the long. Otherwise, you're viewing this as horizontal support, right? Let's see, Chainlink had a beautiful move up. Is it going to be giving up some of those gains? So there it is. This is where we said you could start to look to build up a long position for Chainlink. This is a high time frame trade though. Remember, we did long Chainlink initially all the way down here at $5.50. That was based on the very, very tiny deviation and break back into the range over there. But nevertheless, it was a deviation and boom, Chainlink got the big move towards the upside. Let's have a look at some of the other layer ones and see how they're doing. So just shift this all the way up. There you go. They've been bleeding out, right? So Zeta has been bleeding out completely. Very, very high probability it's going to come down here into this $1.17 region. TON, okay. TON has been a difficult one to trade, very, very choppy. It's been super hyped in recent times, so I would give this one time. I think the clear major support levels coming in at $3, but that would only be confirmed based on the deviation over here. And so far, our LARP lines are still intact. Okay, 𝗬𝗎 is one of the trades that I look to build a long position on. If the rest of the market doesn't bounce and altcoins do continue to bleed, we'll start to slowly cut this position over here because then we can probably get 𝗬𝗎 much lower, most likely around 83 cents. And then after that, it depends on what happens with the rest of the market. It could even come as low as 60 cents. Guys, remember, it's all about risk management, right? Everything comes down to risk management. You need to control your risk. You need to know when to cut positions. You need to know when to add positions. And you need to know when to risk up versus not risk up, right? Versus have lower risk positions. And if the market doesn't start to bounce very, very soon, it's going to start to become that environment where you don't want to have too much risk on the table because you could be going for deeper pullbacks. If Solana deviates below the yellow box over here at 158, there's a good chance that it's coming all the way back down to 120. The yellow zone over here at 125 was our initial entry. That's where we entered onto the Solana long, and we're still giving it a chance over here to bounce from 162, which theoretically would be the new trading range's mid-range. So if this is the trading range, then what does that make that? That makes this the mid-range, and hopefully we can get a bounce and a deeper push-up into the 200 zone, but that depends entirely on what the rest of the market does. Okay, if you look at say is starting to gain that acceptance. This is an example of when we talk about gaining acceptance below a certain level. It's gaining acceptance below 158, right? Or 158, excuse me, gaining acceptance below 58 cents. You can see over here, prior resistance comes down, holds at a support, boom, big move towards the upside. Support, big move up, support, big move up, right? And then here, closing candle before the breakdown. So even then, it broke through, but immediately tried to close the candle back up. 58 cents on say is pretty significant. Big move up, deviates, rejection. It's going to take time. This one's probably going to be coming down lower. So watch those levels over there. As for near, okay, this is your major high time frame resistance over there. And ultimately, you know, it's a bit of a sloppy chart. It's going to do what the rest of the market is doing. You do have a trend line over there. If you do start to break below this trend line, which you're getting very, very close to, then expect follow through all the way down to about $5.03 for near. Now, I'm not only talking in bearish terms because, of course, if this bounces over here, then this would be the bullish scenario, right? It's continuation, and then you want to hold above this level. But at this point in time, is it risk to reward wise to long something like this right now? If you had to take both a long and a short on near right now, what would the trade setup be, right? So, of course, this would be the long. Where are you going to stop out though, right? Probably somewhere like that. Whereas if you were looking rather for the short position, you have a much better risk to reward. If you can wait for it to come up into that zone over there, it just doesn't make sense, risk to reward, to be longing this, right? And it also doesn't make sense to short it right now at this exact moment. But if it can push up into here, hit the resistance level, then that opens up the short trade. So always think in proportions when you look at the market. That's what you want to think of as a trader. View the market and look in proportions. Proportionally, is there a better chance of making money on a long trade, or is there a better chance of making money on a short trade? That's what you want to look at. Okay, Matic rejecting as well. So similar to say, you got all these clear levels of major support, flips it into resistance. That is your trading range, right? Now you've opened up the possibility to trade all the way back down to 52. Casper. Okay, Casper's not over yet. It's still looking okay because you are printing higher highs and higher lows. But again, risk to reward, would you long it here? No point, right? Rather wait for the break above and reclaim like that. The break above and reclaim above the white line at 14 cents. If you see that, that's a better opportunity to go long. Now, Injective, okay, rejected from there. That's a key level. Again, probably still trading out that trading range and likely to come down. Dot rejection off the top side over here. I'd be waiting for Dot to come down to $5.09. Cake, it is at a major support level, but if it loses this, that's going to start to look very bad. Remember also, there's such a thing as an opportunity cost in the market. Although, let's just clear that off. I'm opening up my Zoom. Although this might not break down, so if we use our tool over here, although this for Cake, and this goes for any coin, although it may not break down, it could hold this, right? So theoretically, you could take the trade there, stops go below, and you probably won't get stopped out. But opportunity-wise, is this going to start to do this now and catch a bid? Well, unlikely. There's not really any real reason for Cake to catch a bid, right? It's a very, very old project. I don't see it happening. So even when you're looking at a chart and you see something has a major support level over here, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should buy it, because if it chops around here for the next 3 months, and even though you experience no drawdown, you indirectly have lost money because you could have been making money somewhere else. So let's continue. AVAX also rejected from the key level over there. That was your mid-range level, failed to get above, which is what we said over here. If you can't get above, you're coming down like the squiggly line into $30, right? And I still stand by that. Atom. Okay, Atom got a little bit more attention yesterday due to, they were talking about Luna. Something happened with Luna. Luna pumped again. Then they were speaking about, all the Luna projects that were previously built on Luna, which then moved to Atom. So Atom got a little bit of hype, but chart-wise, nothing's going on, right? It's pretty much caught near the mid-range level. I would wait for an extremity either here or here. Either you reclaim the yellow box if you want to go long, or you just wait for it to come down into 650. Okay, Aptos deviated this entire range, so it's lost that level officially, and this is going to probably cool off for a lot longer, right? It's probably going to bleed out. Aptos is probably going to bleed out. Expect something like this, right? Just a slow bleed, and then you can look for opportunities back into the bottom of the range at $4. So I know maybe not the the news that you wanted today, but let's cheer you up with a little bit of this. Okay, guys, so maybe not the news that you wanted today, but let's keep going through. We'll have a look at the rest of the coins over here. ADA coming into support over there. Stacks, how's Stacks doing? Stacks has been one of the top performers, fully deviated this level over here, broken below this support zone, flipping $2 into resistance, and ultimately coming down probably towards $1.30. Okay, same thing for Optimism, right? Optimism rejecting from this key level over here. Expect that it's going to continue to bleed out for a bit of time. There's no bid on these coins, right? We'll get to the coins that do have a bit of volatility and an opportunity, right? Metis was one of the stronger layer 2. So let's see, based on what ETH does, I don't think that this one's too bad. We said that based on the drawings over here, this would be a great buy if you saw something come down into the zone, because you are starting to play out then higher lows, equal highs. That builds up pressure for an ascending triangle and looking way ahead, a potential breakout, right? Arbitrum. Okay, also not too much going on over here, right? Rejected from the mid-range, coming down. So most of the layer 2s have been pretty lackluster. The strongest real-world asset coin has been Ondo. And let's have a look at Ondo. Okay, Ondo still not looking too bad. If you are going to long things with relative strength, right? So there's a saying, right? Buy low, sell high. But they say that more money has been lost trying to do that than buying high and selling higher. So if you are looking to buy higher and sell higher, this would be an example of a coin that has been in a straight uptrend, putting in higher highs and higher lows. It's in price discovery essentially, and you would be viewing this mid-range level as a key zone to hold, which is marked off here as $1.11. And you can literally see, where did yesterday's candle come into? Exactly $1.11. Ondo held that level, and that would pretty much be your invalidation if you start to come below that. If the rest of the market's going to bounce, expect that Ondo is going to put in bigger moves than everything else, right? So let's go on to some of the meme coins. The meme coins have been the ones that are moving pretty aggressively. Here you got Wojak, and I said yesterday, unfortunately, your invalidation levels are very, very far away, which doesn't mean you can't trade it. It just means you need to take in less or take on less risk, right? So nice horizontal over here on the daily candle closes. Yesterday's candle closed at that level. Today's candle opened at that level. If you did want a sneaky long over here, I'd put the stop under yesterday's low, and then on Wojak, that opens up a long opportunity. When I'm expecting the cat to come down into this zone over here, so I wouldn't be trading that. Let's see, are there any other good ones in terms of the memes? Okay, Popcat. Okay, no, Popcat's probably coming all the way down to 36. Pepe, also one with relative strength over here. A little bit difficult to take a long over here. You need clearer zones to invalidate on. How do you find this? Well, you would have to look, for example, you have to go into a low time frame like the hourly, right? Or even lower than the hourly. Wait for a break of structure. So currently, if you look at something like this, it is putting in a short-term downtrend. Wait for the break of that, right? Wait for the break of that. You're looking for something like this. Put in a higher high, comes back down, shows signs of strength, stops go below, and then you can enter over there. That's what you're looking for on, and I know that's very small, I'll make it bigger, but on things like 𝗕𝗚𝗥 or the stronger coins, that's what you're looking at. But we're trying to give you a higher time frame overview first by looking at the daily. Okay, deviating on 𝗪𝗏, I said that this almost warrants a short on 𝗪𝗏, and I do stand by that, right? Because it's been a pretty aggressive uptrend over here. I think 𝗪𝗏 should pull back pretty aggressively all the way down to about 18. 𝗪𝗏 Trump coming down, not really a clean chart to take a trade on over there. 𝗪𝗏 is not as bad, right? 𝗪𝗏 is coming down into the mid-range level, so you have something to work with. Watch for signs of strength coming in at 0.013. Okay, 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗧, very, very nice. Big move up on 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗧 over here. I saw Linear Chain had some positive growth on Linear Chain. It's been one of the top performers, I think, over the last week. And one of the only ways that you can get exposure to Linear is by buying 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗧, right? 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗧 is the meme coin on Linear. You can't buy a Linear token because they don't have a Linear token. So love to see it. Very, very good move over there for 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗧. I am holding quite a substantial amount of 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗧. So I'm definitely happy to see that. Okay. 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗧 also capped in this range over here. Let's just straighten that out. Here's your range high. Needs to get above that. This is old tech, old coins. I wouldn't really want to long that. Doge has been the worst performer in terms of the meme coins. So look, it needs to break above this level. But you know, it's tough, guys. When it comes to Doge, it's really tough. If you have someone like Elon Musk who has actively spoken about Doge before, and it's only causing these little small pumps, how much more do you need sentiment-wise to come into the market to actually get this thing going? So I definitely think that the other coins are much, much better plays. I wouldn't be taking trades over there on Doge, personally speaking. Okay, deviating the top side of the range over here for Bonk, but I wouldn't write it off yet. As for WIF, we missed it. Remember, we longed this ages ago. All the way down here, we had that behemoth 45,000% trade. So I'm not sad about missing the next one, but this was the zone that I was looking for. I wanted to sweep down into $2.20. We didn't get it. Price front ran that. It went down to $2.44, and that's the move up. So if you're holding it, congratulations. Okay. What else do we have over here? Let's have a quick look at some of these. So MOG coming down over here, but it does have major support. So support's going to be within this zone over here at about 9703. How's Tuka doing? Our favorite reporter, our favorite meme reporter. This is the key level. Let's watch if a bid comes in. We said you have confluence of both mid-range and the upsloping trend line, which happens to be in a parallel channel, right? That's the bottom of that channel. Gummy, let's go to Gummy. How's Gummy doing? Okay, slow bleed on Gummy. You need to see a range that forms over here. And I told you guys this weeks ago. I said that just because it's our so-called crypto banter theme token, I'm still going to be totally honest with you guys when it comes to the charts because it's your money at stake. I don't want you guys to lose money. This is a slow bleed, right? That's the truth of the matter, slow bleed. 𝗕𝗚𝗥 coin, how's 𝗕𝗚𝗥 coin doing? Let's take a quick look. Okay, 𝗕𝗚𝗥 coin. Nice move over there. I've lost all the levels, unfortunately, but nevertheless, very, very nice move over here. You can see a clear range that's forming. This is not the 𝗕𝗚𝗥 that I showed just now. This is the OG original 𝗕𝗚𝗥, which I believe was created in 2013. Can you guys believe it? 2013. There's your range levels coming in at $7 on the top side, $2.50 on the bottom side. So I think it would still need to take a bit of time before breaking out. Watch for price pushing up into the top of the range. Then maybe come down to mid-range, find support, and then have continuation higher. Let's see Based AI, which is the 𝗕𝗚𝗥 coin counterpart. By staking 𝗕𝗚𝗥 coin, you get Based AI tokens, right? So the chart plays out in a relatively similar fashion where you have the range low coming in there at 377. And then, of course, this is the range high. And I would honestly say exactly the same thing, right? If you look at Based AI, watch for this uptrend to continue to slowly grind. probable rejection from the top side, comes back down into mid-range, which is round about here, and then has continuation breaking out the top of the range, and then you can look at higher and higher prices. So guys, that's it from me. Thank you all so much for watching. Please make sure that you use the link in the description below. Sign up to Whale School, and I'll see all of you on the next one. Cheers for now.